Let me take you back to a simpler time. It's March 29, 2005. Mariah Carey's sick new single, We Belong Together, just dropped. As this bop blares from your Honda Civic, you notice a line forming outside your local GameStop. A slew of sweaty nerds of all shapes and ages line up to pick up their copy of one of the most influential and monetizable concepts ever conceived by Lucas Studios until this guy. Wait, that's not right. This guy. There we go. That's the one. This magnum opus of creation allowed anyone to participate in their favorite sci-fi cinematic, but with a bit of a catch. It's Legos. Of course, this treasure is the renowned Lego Star Wars, the video game. Released for Game Boy Advance, Windows, GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, Mac. Oh my goodness. While I only vividly remember my time playing this on the Game Boy, for those of you who have suffered through this as well, we know what's waiting for us now. My personal demon was the conveyor belt part of the Droid Factory, playing as both Anakin and Padme. I remember playing that several times on the Game Boy before we lost it. I don't know how that could have happened. But the odd thing is, I only remember that level. I remember a lot of it, like playing it in different cars and different houses, and I brought it with me almost everywhere. I didn't just play that game, but I was a Game Boy kid, so had it with me. But the point is, this level and its seemingly indiscernible overlapping halls haunt my dreams. I was but a wee babe, though, and didn't have the thumb coordination of an arthritis-riddled orangutan as I do now. I digress. Lego Star Wars, the video game, slapped on like everything that wasn't the Game Boy Advance. Because, it looked like that. The DS version became somewhat redeemable for portable, but even still, it's not great. Like, ugh. The pristine versions of the game are obviously on the consoles, PS2, GameCube, Xbox, or on PC, where you can experience all of your prequel installments and have your own fun little hub world, albeit nothing more than glorified doorways. But the later installments insanely build on this hub world concept, including secret missions and hidden characters in several. Speaking of the next games, in 2006 the original trilogy was released for everyone to go do the exact same thing, still being slightly better on the consoles, probably because the designers had even more practice with what worked in that format, but they still released it on the Game Boy Advance. This was right when the DS came out, people. Remember, it's still a gameable, isn't that right, Nintendo? We had the complete package, but the whole experience felt a little broken. You mean I can't do aggressive negotiations without using my greasy grubbers to grab a disc out of the PS2 and then put another one to go slide more dumpy Lego blocks? Nah, man, that's too hard. I don't want to do that. Well, if I got a deal for you, we slapped these two games together and rolled some flexi tape in a hub world and said, Happy Thanksgiving, here's some Legos. Wait. Anyways, enter Lego Star Wars, the complete saga. I hope you're ready for one of the most influential games of the 2000s to sink its teeth into the wallets of countless parents and unwavering adults. Welcome to the world of Star Wars. A game based on a toy line advertised by its game. A flawless strategy that's never doomed to fail. Oh god, no Bionicles, go back where you belong. Other than the practicality of this idea screaming with profit, the execution was amazing. Developers Traveler's Tales, and the big T and little t for those who don't remember, were staying on top of the next installment development, making their one game as 3 different sets of sales for 3 different years was just genius. The first game being number 27 on Amazon's top-selling games in 2005, when the second installment reached the 17th spot, with various versions of the game reaching top 100 in 2007. Remember, it had to deal with a lot that year: Modern Warfare, Mass Effect, Super Mario Galaxy, and Halo 3. And for some reason, High School Musical 3 for the Nintendo Wii. Why is this number 39? Is knowing this my punishment for making this video? You share this burden too. I also just figured out that an entirely different company made the Game Boy version of the game. The company was later acquired by another one owned by EA, so I don't know if it's Kryptonite Games or Glue Mobile, but regardless, I hate you for making my childhood, and I quote, frustrating. Anyways, the game did really well for itself, but why? What was so special about this game? Wasn't it just retelling of our classic screen tales, but just with these cute, wacky Legos? Just cute, wacky Legos, huh? And also, I'm saying that wrong. I say Legos. You're supposed to put an S on it, but you know what? I've done that forever, and I'm going to keep doing it. So what if I told you our blocky friends here have committed several atrocities? Do these Lego faces look innocent to you? Since this game format is neatly squared away with Lego bricks and a slow-paced action, the franchise is able to get away with a lot more. The quirkiness of Legos helps the combat seem faster than it really is. But hey, you know, I can block a laser beam, so it's pew to pew. The combat maneuverability throughout the level allows a good amount of playability diversity, allowing your little sibling or your reminiscent self not the same experience when going back through the levels for those sweet collectibles. I'm having flashbacks to the droid factory. Ah, the collectibles. You got your gold bricks, your red bricks, your Malcolm bricks, all the bricks in the business. On top of those sweet finds, you got the mini kits, which are... What the heck are these things? Is it like a capsule? Are those blinky lights good or bad? Is this lever supposed to open this? If it only has one function, why does it have two lights? I mean, it doesn't matter what it is. The people want it, they crave it, and ever since its introduction in 2005, the first Lego Star Wars, and in the first Lego Star Wars, it's proved to be a staple for the series, appearing in several titles, albeit slightly different ways. I'm looking at you, Indiana Jones, and your artifacts. With replayability being a key part in these games, unlocking all the content and 100%ing the game is a surprisingly common agenda to a large percentage of fans. So that meant these levels had to be good. No, not just good. They had to be so good you could look at the same gut-busting conveyor belt on Geonosis for the 10th time and not want to rip your hair out good. It also meant that the level couldn't show you everything it had to offer the first time around. It had to hint at some door, some ledge, and out-of-bounds oddity. A path or secret pulled at the back of your mind, pushed you to go back. These inaccessible areas could only be found by going back through the level in Freeplay. Freeplay is the sweet icing on the cake to these Lego games. Instead of reliving as the standard episode characters, you go back and play as anyone you want in the whole series. You could finally live all your Lego Star Wars RP needs, like trying to do aggressive negotiations with a gonk droid. Now that all of your sci-fi fantasies could be lived your own way with your own cast, it's really starting to melt into less of a linear, blocky retelling and more of an interactive game-making experience where you build your own experience. And I understand the redundancy of that, but LEGO stuck strong with what it knew. Just like their buildable Lego sets, they introduce a set where you can build with instructions the first time and have it just like the movie. But after building it, you can choose to leave it how it is or go back and tear it apart and make it your own. Add pieces from other sets, put the wrong stickers on different ships, I don't know, get wild with it. This malleability for LEGO to be a quirky, comedic, interactive retelling while also building towards being essentially a sandbox with the majority of the Star Wars cast is impressive. At the time of this writing, the new and the third trilogy LEGO Star Wars game, LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga, is being projected to surpass this with including 300 playable characters. To put it in perspective, the complete saga had a whopping 160 characters for the entire game. So even if the next 140 characters are all from the sequel trilogy, which I doubt and hope it doesn't happen, but even if they were, it would still bring back iconic characters and turn them into bands of misfits for fun and wacky gameplay in any trilogy. I know you don't want to live in the time of knowing what a porg is, but would it help if you got to be a gong droid while you did it? Man, I love these things. Anyways, while the series of rolling, dodging, and spamming attack buttons are no magnum opus to gameplay mechanics, LEGO Star Wars games are able to use these along with brilliantly designed linear stories that press you to go back multiple times and collect things you missed. But while you're at it, maybe be a true Jedi and explore the amazing hub worlds with tons of hidden secrets and characters just waiting for your little Lego person to waddle into. Look at them go. The true third LEGO Star Wars game isn't the newest installment though. During the peak of the Clone Wars craze in 2011, LEGO Star Wars The Clone Wars was released. This installment was insanely fun and refined compared to the other pieces, even structuring the story slightly differently so you can switch perspectives to be the bad guys. Yeah. But while it stuck to the formula and refined its gameplay and hub world immensely, it didn't necessarily serve with quite the same pivotal force that the original games landed on. During 2011, the LEGO game craze was getting pretty intense, with both LEGO Pirates of the Caribbean and LEGO Harry Potter Years 5 through 7 coming out at the same time. With a slightly oversaturated market and LEGO branching out into over-adventurous projects like Bionicle's Hero Factory 3.0, because if it didn't work the first 2 times around, it's bound to the third. Right, guys? While it's a quote as old as time, LEGO games are a trap. They brilliantly repackage the same thing that's just a representation of our favorite Star Wars characters, but looking slightly more animated, with each game adding on to the next and throwing a bone to the franchise by adding another trilogy to the LEGO games serve as the same partially upgraded rehashed content. But much like with their LEGO sets, LEGO knows what they're doing. All they have to do is rinse and repeat, and we'll buy the Skywalker Saga just for a chance to rush Starkiller Base as the Gonk droid. That's right, baby, we're bringing it back. I'm very excited for the Skywalker Saga. The exaggerated features from the previous games and a hub world that won't only include multiple locations, but some of those are said to be on various planets. I mean, this is the potential to be one of the most elaborate and mind-melting LEGO games yet. Thank you everybody so much for watching. I had a lot of fun making whatever this was. These were huge games in my and a lot of other people's childhoods, and it was just kind of by complete accident. I think I started to make this video around this time. Discovered that the Skywalker Saga was coming out as I was writing this. I'm glad I was able to do this, and I hope to get more of these out in the future. So thank you, and have an awesome day, everybody.